Hey everyone, this is The Station, a podcast series coming to you directly from the Charles Darwin Research Station, where we dive into stories of science and wonder from the Galápagos Islands. Today I have with me Mattias Klum. He's a world-renowned photographer from National Geographic, but also does lots of work around the world. And you're also an ambassador of the Charles Darwin Foundation, our first ambassador, in fact. And you're visiting us from Sweden. And welcome, Mattias. Tell us a little bit about you for our listeners.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. You know, I love to be back here. I've been here a number of times, actually. Started coming here some 15 years ago. And like most people, fell in love with this place.
Yeah.
You know, it's so vibrant, it's so rich. There's so many adaptations, just endless things to, if you're an artist, a photographer, endless things to photograph. But it's also a great example of conservation efforts, and the CDF and the Charles Darwin Foundation really epitomizes that. And if we can fix the Galapagos, if we can help the Galapagos, if we can make it last, it's a great benchmark for the rest of the planet. So I think it's wonderful to work with you and wonderful to be back.
Well, thanks, Mattias. So you've said you've come here a number of times. I think it was more than 15 times even.
Yes.
And what makes you come back again and again and again? I mean, you mentioned there's always more to photograph, but like, tell us a bit more. What do you love about Galapagos?
Well, I mean, it's so unique. I mean, if you go below the surface, there are few places, if any places, where you can actually bump into a penguin while snorkeling or diving, a hammerhead shark, a curious, flirtatious sea lion female, and all of a sudden you have, you know, a marine iguana coming down next to you, having a feast on some algae. It's basically this wicked ecosystem filled with adaptations. And I've been diving all over the world, but this place is so unique. And then you pop your head up, and there's an entire different world, or partly the same. And I just find it completely amazing. And as we put unprecedented pressure on our planetary systems, Galapagos we have regional pressures here, we have global pressures here, but there's also so much to care for and to preserve and to love here. So yeah, it's easy to come back, and now I work with you, so it's even easier.
It's easier to come back.
Yeah.
So you actually touched on this. So you blend kind of art and conservation. And so how do you pick the stories you want to tell? What makes it a good story? What stories do you want to tell this world?
Well, there are stories about, again, about adaptations, about how these incredible creatures, how they have evolved over time. And that's a story, that's an incredible story. And that has been told, but the thing is that most stories, one could argue, has been told, so why go all the way to the Galapagos? But the thing is, again, coming back to conservation and conservation efforts and circularity, if everything was okay and hunky-dory, we didn't have to tell the stories at all.
Right.
We didn't have to do anything about conservation. So to me, it's really about being a little bit stubborn and all the time try to pick up new or recycle ideas, in a sense, because we need to get to grips with certain things. But I believe the glass to be half full rather than half empty. I think it's easy to become misanthropic if you really study what's going on. But I think I'm not sure that would trigger most people to engage. So I believe in beauty, fascination, science, and wherever you look, I just look over your shoulder and I see a swimming marine iguana, the only sea-living lizard on the planet, and it's right behind you. It's very distracting.
We had a sea lion just sneeze, by the way. No, that's really great. And so you want to tell stories of hope. Is that what you want to tell? And so that people feel inspired to protect our planet?
Yes, for sure. But also, I mean, I try to tend to have one foot where we are right now.
Yeah.
So it's like solidly anchored in where we are. That when it comes to science, when it comes to conservation, when it comes to the challenges we're facing. And my other foot tends to be in the future we want, or I want, what I want for my kids and their kids, and your kids and their kids.
Yeah.
And I think that is a good balance. But you have to have one anchored in reality and to be present. I think presence is important.
And so what does your role as CDF ambassador mean to you today?
Well, it means that I can try to help you communicate the important work of CDF. I can try to funnel interest from people that I know or that follows me, that follow me to understand and celebrate your projects, the beauty of the Galápagos Islands, and again as a benchmark for the rest of the planet. So what happens in Galápagos doesn't really necessarily stay in the Galápagos.
No, absolutely.
It's actually it becomes a global effort a bit, and to me that's both relevant, fascinating, and beautiful.
Yeah. All right, so pulling back now into just your experience in Galapagos, can you maybe tell our visitors, or even me, because I never asked you this question, but what's one of the most dramatic moments you've lived here in the islands?
Well, I can just, as an example, the other day I was in a dinghy, like a Zodiac, on the open sea, and we saw an island, actually Isabella, in a distance, and all of a sudden I saw some frigate birds, beautiful, these pirates of the sea. They're entrepreneurial, really smart hunters.
Kleptomaniacs.
And absolute crazy. And they were a few, a bachelor group. Some of you could see the red pouch, not inflated, but just amazing. But they were so interested in something just below the surface. And that tells me something. It's a clue, right? So if you read nature, I get better pictures. So I wanted to go closer. We went closer, and all of a sudden, orcas came up. Yeah, big orcas, and they were hunting something. First, I thought it might have been a sea turtle, but then eventually I realized it was something else. They were playing around hunting, and all of a sudden they revealed what it was, because the intestines of a quite gory of a Galapagos sea lion came up in the. They were. All the frigate birds were fighting for the
intestines.
Long,
oh my
dangling
God.
intestines, but that's such a drama.
That is pretty dramatic.
Just in front of us, and so every day something happens that is, and there you can look at tiny details. You get the scales of a land iguana, for example, and the color variation, and as an artist, you go nuts because it's like never ending. So it's beautiful.
That's a pretty good story. And this happened, last week?
Yeah.
When you were, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So then, pulling back, you photograph nature, around the world, in the craziest places, the most remote, the most inaccessible, without a research permit, such as here at the Galápagos Islands. And tell us maybe about one of the most intimate moments with nature, really intimate, where you were you felt just privileged, right? So one is dramatic, you've just told us, but now just something where you're like, oh my God, I've been so lucky to see this. I'm sure there's plenty.
To be honest, I'm frequently very lucky because I live my dream in a way. I mean, I get to work in places and with people that, it's a learning curve every day, and I love that about my job. And I've done this job now for 40 years, full time. So there's sometimes a lot of red tape to cut to be able to access inaccessible places, but it's really worth it because within those places you have resilient ecosystems that thrive, that we actually depend on for the stability of the planet. So to show those places are very important to keep them safe. But yeah, one time, for example, I was spending 14 months in the rainforests of Borneo, and Borneo is the third largest island on the planet. It's a rainforest island, massive. It has been, unfortunately, like many other places, fragmented and to a large extent, it has changed due to huge monocrops and
there's lots of deforestation there, yeah.
But there are still patches of remarkable, vibrant forests. Anyway, I spent 14 months in one of those places on an expedition, living in tents, hides and blinds, way up in the canopy.
For 14 months?
14 months. I spent 4 months out of 14 up in the trees.
Oh my God.
And I was waiting for wild orangutans. Sometimes you see pictures, and they could be in rehabilitation centers, or you see this reddish blob up, sort of backlit in a tree. But I wanted to be on their level. So I needed to build blinds and hides way up, 35 to 65 meters, 90 to 210 feet up in the canopy, waiting for them. And when you wait for orangutans, you listen to the clues of nature, just as I mentioned
What are
with
the
the
clues?
frigate birds
Yeah.
and the orcas. So you listen to how nature reacts around them, and then that'll give you clues. And one morning, I waited for weeks next to a fruiting tree, and I heard how the branches moved the orangutan way. And it came closer, the sound came closer and closer, and eventually a female and a young, a baby orangutan came up this silvery tree trunk early morning, up into a wild durian tree. And I got pictures with her and her baby, you know, with this ancient 100-million-year-old rainforest in the background. And it still moves me so much just thinking about it, because the wait was horrendously long. The work was very tough to get there. Just to get the blinds up in those trees is very hard. But then the reward.
Yeah.
The reward of seeing this highly endangered, remarkably intelligent creature sitting there in this tree, in this magnificent but fragile realm.
Yeah.
Grateful. So there's so many of those, but it's just something that lingers in my heart.
I can imagine. That's beautiful. Gosh, I wish I had seen orangutans. I went to Borneo, never saw them, but obviously didn't spend 14 months out there, nor 4 months in the canopy. That is dedication, and it goes to show how much hard work goes into that one incredible photo that makes the cover of a Nat Geo magazine, or some of your incredible books. So no, that's just incredible. So you mentioned earlier a little bit the resilience of nature, and I know you've talked before to me about the planetary boundaries and the work that you do with the Potsdam Institute. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about that? How you see this resilience of nature and how the tipping points, and,
sure,
and where we're at.
So Professor Johan Rockström, a fellow Swede, and his science team, they have many years ago defined sort of the 9 boundaries that we need not to sort of
not to surpass. Or something,
if we surpass it, we become more vulnerable, and it becomes more and more sort of expensive for us humans to live safe, and prosper. So what we try to do is to define, those are scientifically defined, but my job is to visualize the different realms and what happens when we surpass, and when we sort of navigate into dangerous zones. And the different boundaries, they can be aerosols, they can be terrestrial or marine ecosystems, and how the planet or nature cope with the stress that's anthropogenically triggered. So it's basically, it's very scientific, but it's a great, it gauges exactly how we need to navigate, so we are within those realms, and then we can actually have business. Then we can have business as usual. We can have business as usual if we transgress those limits,
those boundaries,
and those boundaries, And so I'm right now working on a new book with Johan Rockström that is sort of showing that we cannot sort of fix the climate issues at the same time, and at the same time destabilizing ecosystems and taking out species, because those worlds are intertwined.
Totally, yeah.
It's like, metaphorically, like our organs within. To be a healthy person, you can't destabilize some organs and mind, or sort of be aware of others. We have to have a more holistic view of nature. So so the book is really that life gives life, and that if we maintain enough of resilience, enough of clean oceans, vibrant oceans, beautiful oceans, coral reefs, forests and other ecosystems, that is also regulating the climate stability, then we can continue to prosper on this planet. If we don't, it becomes more and more difficult.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I find it a fascinating model because it provides some kind of a framework.
Yeah.
And sometimes, us humans have difficulty grasping the size and the complexity of this, and it provides some kind of a framework, with nine variables ultimately that are
Yes.
somehow a little bit more quantifiable. We got the Finch visiting you.
Hey.
He wants to be on the podcast. This is Galápagos. But it's it's a great tool, and I think this is where again science helps
Yeah.
support conservation and support also making people understand the importance of protecting our planet.
Yeah, and we can then, if we understand that and we can thrive within those planetary boundaries, that we find what the scientists calls a safe operating space for us.
Yeah.
And that's very clearly defined. And we're just going to listen to it and try to get legislation to follow.
Yeah. So in Galapagos, you've come here so many times and you've seen it over 15 years. You said like the past 15 years roughly you've been coming. So that's more than once a year, essentially. What is the biggest challenge you see here that concerns you the most?
Well, we have the global issues of climate change and warming of the oceans. But then we have others like plastics and microplastics, and that is...
That we see here, yeah.
Yeah, that's very serious, and it changes things. And then we have another boundary that's just got transgressed, and that is acidification of the oceans.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a big one. It's a really scary one because it affects all life in the ocean: corals, bone structure, shells, and everything. And that is something we have come so far in sort of destabilizing the systems. When it comes to the Galapagos, here, it's of course managing tourism, fisheries, and making sure that we use the riches, all what's vibrant and beautiful, in a sustainable way, and so that it lasts. So this is a USP unique selling point for the islands, and not overpopulated or we push it too far. And that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's numerous levels of challenges here, I guess. You can't just name one, really, and they're interconnected. To your point about the planetary boundaries, challenges are also interconnected. So I have two more questions for you. One, I would love to know, what photo, in your opinion, that you've taken over your career has probably created the most impact on people, it's like a concrete change that has led to?
Wow, that's a hard question. Not for the Galapagos, for everything.
Just overall,
everything.
Okay. Absolutely.
Well, I've taken pictures that I don't know how to quantify that really, because it can be like what picture has been seen by most people, for example. That might have a great impact. I took pictures of some of the first pictures, or possibly the first pictures in the world, of wild king cobras, and those circulated all over the place in the world and got picked up by National Geographic, but also New York Times, BBC. They were all over the place.
And why was it so special?
Because it's a magnificent snake. It's the largest venomous snake on the planet. It can grow almost 6 meters long, and standing up with its hood, flared, can be my size standing up. It's a massive venomous snake, enough neurotoxin to kill an elephant. And it's the only one that can construct a nest, and it's just like this almost mythological
It's
creature.
mythical, yeah. I was just gonna say,
yeah, it's mythical. So that maybe that's. But also, I did a picture. I did a film and a story about a blowpipe hunter headman in Borneo. His name was Tebaran, and he fought for his forest in a very peaceful way. It was a pacifist, but he tried to keep this ancient realm where his ancestors thrived and lived in harmony, truly, with a very circular system. And there's a picture of him standing with his blowpipe. He had strangely enough, a football, like a sweater or a t-shirt on, and his loincloth, and a quiver filled with poison darts, and he's standing there, and in the backdrop is purgatory. It's like this this wasteland where this ancient, beautiful forest used to stand, and his face and his whole demeanor, his posture is like, you know, it was so sad, and that picture became very, very telling and
absolutely
and used for advocacy to save the Bornean rainforest. So that was maybe an important frame as well.
Yeah. I mean, both sound amazing. And I think with the king cobra, it's also, like you said, it's mythical, but it's also, you know, I think snakes like sharks here. I mean, we have this problem with sharks, right, where they're seen as these predators, and so they've got a bad rep, to be honest. And so it's like, but at the same time, a lot of them are really endangered. And so how can you raise awareness, at least through the beauty and the rarity of seeing them, that to help save them?
Well, and they have functions. Mm-hmm. We have about 400 shark species in the world's oceans, and just a handful are interested in us sometimes. So it's
usually it's because they mistake us for something else.
Exactly.
A sea lion.
And they are, you know, there are so many functions and ecosystem services that we don't even think about, and so no,
and we don't know.
Sharks are
there's so much that's still
they're crucial to the stability of the planet and the oceans.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So my final question is, as ambassador of the Charles Darwin Foundation, what gives you hope? What hope do you want to convey to our viewers, to our listeners, for Galapagos specifically, but also I think, you know, like you said, you know, Galapagos is just something that reverberates around the world. So what hope do you want to convey?
I believe that if we protect, love, and support the remaining beauty on Earth, we're in a much, much, much better place. And that's easier to deal with than abstractions and PPM curves and statistics. Here in the Galapagos, there's so much beauty, so much fascinating life. And by supporting the Charles Darwin Foundation, you secure that, you secure the future, you secure resilience. And it's fascinating, beautiful, fun, and interesting. So, you know, instead of perhaps saying, I don't know, people feel sometimes depressed, or they don't want to engage because we can all sense something is not entirely right on this planet right now. But by engaging, by becoming one of you, becoming part of the club, becoming part of the support team for our future.
Doing something.
It's a golden, you know, it's something that makes it worthwhile. And I'm all about purpose. And what could be more purposeful than supporting the future? It's a love letter to the future, supporting you.
Well, that's a lovely way to end it. Thank you, Mattias.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining in today, and we will see you very soon. So please like this episode, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and our other social media channels, and then we'll see you next time. Bye.